Thanks for tuning in and welcome to your January Cairns Real Estate Market Update. Welcome to the start of the year, welcome to 2025, and welcome to what has been a fascinating start to the market. In this edition, we're going to cover off on current stock levels locally, a potential softening in the rental market, as well as some standout sales, or one in particular over the December period that shows that despite some gloomy outlooks nationally, there are still some incredible results that can be achieved and are happening in our marketplace. We'll also look nationally, that there's some very interesting stats emerging that are showing signs of possibly being past the peak across the broader market trends, and also when we anticipate to hopefully see that rate cut based upon the data that's coming out. Let's jump in. Locally, available stock levels are sitting at a mere 604 available properties in the Cairns region. This is currently down a further 11% since December. It's further exacerbating the significant stock shortages that we've been speaking about in these updates quite regularly. It's important to note, though, and as a small caveat, that December is notoriously a time for even less coming to the market. So, of course, that lack of stock on the market right now, down that further 11%, will be exacerbated from that. We are seeing, as we come into the very end of January, the early signs of an increase of those stock levels, like it'll bring us back around to that high 600s, maybe the low 700s, which is what we've been experiencing for the last couple of years. Of course, still far below what our median was a couple of years ago. In the rental market, the available rental properties are continuing to increase in our local market, up an additional 70 rental listings for the market currently. This is up 22% from September. It's a very, very significant number, and this is resulting in a bit of a plateau in the rental market. Early reports are that prices are starting to come down very slightly. Of course, all things in context, we are still in a rental crisis with a very low rental availability, but the trend is there and emerging very, very quickly. In terms of buyer activity this year, we have found they have returned unseasonably early, with the first week of January, most of the buyers coming back into the market very, very promptly, and that's continued to build as all of January has continued. Strong level inquiries across the board from the first week, which is great, and some early signs of some possible investor activity as well, which is also really good. The number of sales in December, though, as forecast, were significantly below the rolling 12-month average. Despite that, and as mentioned at the start of this video, there were some significant and really highly notable sales prices that were achieved. This has mainly been driven by urgency of those buyers, eager to secure something as soon as into the year or the end of last year as absolutely possible, and of course that lack of stock, as there was so much less coming to the market in that December period. The sale of note to be aware of was in Cairns North in Digger Street. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1-car apartment. At the end of August, start of September, there was an incredibly comparable sale in that complex with another agent, which sold for $410,000. This one in question that we've sold actually was nearly the same, 2-bed, 2-bath, slightly better aspect, but only marginally, and that transacted with multiple offers at $475,000, a $65,000 increase in a matter of months. So it's quite a significant jump up and sets a real new benchmark in that market. Zooming out, though, and having a look at what's happening across the nation, New South Wales is reportedly now in the slowest rate of economic growth in 30 years. Again, those numbers are in the 0.01, 0.03 percentages, so they're very, very minimal, but it's important that we keep on top of these because they do show those early signs of an emerging trend. Also, in terms of cost to build, we have seen an increase of a further 2.8% on average from this time last year. So that cost to build is certainly not coming down anytime soon. And in many cases, replacement cost is still not at current market value as well. So some very, very interesting dynamics across the board. We have seen an average of a 0.1% decline in residential sale prices for the month of December nationally for 2024. Cairns excluded from this. We have still seen some continuing uptrends, but the larger real estate markets, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, etc., have been seeing some negative growth. Newest numbers coming out for January is that they're also slightly behind on this as well. This is technical recession, but again, it's very, very small. And of course, they've seen significant increases in their market prices, 30-40% over the last few years. So all things in context. Also looking at the Reserve Bank and interest rates at the moment, NZ, Reserve Bank of New Zealand, has predicted up to a 7% increase in the median New Zealand house prices, while the Australian economists, they've forecast a bit of a sluggish growth for us until interest rate cuts begin. In regards to interest rate cuts, due to the strength of the job market, early reports and early forecasts is that the RBA is probably going to be unlikely to offer those first interest rate cuts until after the election. Hopefully not, but that's the early signs that we're seeing from what the data suggests. And finally, we do have an election year this year likely to come in May or before. The looming federal election anticipated will slow down buyer activity, as it always does, particularly from the investors. So the new investor inquiry that we're seeing currently, that will start to fizzle out as we come closer to the election period. And this is just due to market and economic uncertainty. Overall, though, I think we're in a very positive position in the marketplace in Cairns. We're still buoyed by a significant lack of stock, which is fantastic, particularly for 3-bedroom apartments being the market that I specialise in. There's significant demand there for 3-bedroom apartments, and also in the high end of the CBD, those downsizers who haven't yet found somewhere to go that have been looking for quite some time. So still some significant results to be had there regardless. That is your market update for January 2025. I hope there was some gold in there that helps you make some great decisions moving forward. And as always, if you have any questions, any real estate needs, we're always at your service. Have a great week, and we'll see you next month.